Stalin, Hitler, Trump, making America fascist again. That's the topic of today's podcast, making America fascist again. In this particular case, by following in the footsteps of those two great dictators, Hitler and Stalin. Hi, I'm David Dubato, and this is the No Delusion Zone. What am I talking about specifically? Well, just recently, there's been reports in all the major media outlets about Donald Trump's new executive order. He's only signed about 10 billion of them, but yesterday, I believe it was, he signed a new executive order which targets two of the people on his enemies list. Again, taking the cue from Stalin and Hitler, among many, many others who've compiled enemies lists in the past, dictators who have put together enemies lists. Well, Trump is the latest one, so he's got an enemies list. It's no secret. And I'm going to start by reporting from the New York Times. These are both from the New York Times. And the title of the article is Trump Signs Orders Punishing Those Who Opposed His 2020 Election Lies. The president targeted two officials from his first administration and an elite law firm as part of his campaign for retribution. What a petty asshole. I mean, you know, he just can't let it go. He still doesn't concede losing the 2020 election. He knows he did, but he can't admit it now or he'd lose all credibility. So he's still persecuting and, in some cases, trying to prosecute those who told the truth, those who investigated his lies, his insurrection, his treason. But I want to get right to the reporting on this. Again, this comes from the New York Times, and I'll read it right now, put it on the screen. In quotes, President Trump on Wednesday signed executive orders punishing two officials from his first administration and an elite law firm, continuing a campaign of retribution that he has gleefully carried out since his inauguration. Two executive orders targeted Christopher Krebs, who, as a senior cybersecurity official, oversaw the securing of the 2020 presidential election, and Miles Taylor, who served as chief of staff at the Department of Homeland Security during Mr. Trump's first term and anonymously wrote a high-profile opinion article for the New York Times in 2018. Among other measures, the orders directed Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and Kristi Noem, the Homeland Security Secretary, to investigate the former officials and report their findings to the White House. The report goes on to talk about the persecution of a law firm that was also involved in suing, who in this case suing Fox News on behalf of Dominion Voting Systems for $787.5 million for their absolute lies and treason by saying that the 2020 election was stolen, knowing it was not, knowing Dominion Voting Systems had done nothing wrong, but publicizing it and speaking about that for months on air. But I'm not going to pursue that too much right now. We're going to focus on the two prior Trump officials who are in the focus right now, in the spotlight of the persecution by the Trump administration. And again, those are Christopher Krebs and Miles Taylor. Folks, these people did nothing wrong. In fact, they were and still are, I believe, registered Republicans. They were appointed by Donald Trump. But like many, many other officials who have served and are serving under that criminal, that traitor, they decided that this man is a traitor. He's a lunatic. He's a basket case. He's very, very dangerous. And they turned against him. And as any mob boss does, when people turn against him, when they are disloyal, in his opinion, he goes after them with a vengeance. And that's exactly what Trump is doing. I've said this before many, many times. I'll say it again many, many times. Trump is nothing more than a mob boss who just happens to have the largest, most powerful military in the world in history at his disposal. But he's a mob boss. He's a criminal. Not only that, he's a moron. He's an imbecile. He's an imbecilic mob boss who knows only one thing: vengeance. He has a thin skin. If you say anything about him, anything critical at all, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how often you've kissed his ass, he will come after you. He'll come after you at the expense of his country, at the expense of other people. It really doesn't matter. He will come after you and do what it takes to get you until the end of time. And he has surrounded himself with psychopaths, sycophants that will do his bidding. The Pam Bondis, the Kash Patels, the J.D. Vances, and all those other cult members, those other treasonous, hypocritical pieces of shit. They will do whatever he wants. They know it's wrong. They all know that it's wrong. These are Ivy League graduates, most of them attorneys. They know it's wrong, but they crave that power. And may they burn in fucking hell soon, I hope. But in any event, that's what's going on now. The Trump, Stalin, Hitler parade marches on. We now have our own dictator, our own fascist, who has compiled his own enemies list. And to all you or any of the MAGA that are watching this, fuck you. If you don't think that a president compiling an enemies list of people who their only crime was disagreeing with him, or in this case, telling the truth about an election that was not stolen, that Trump lost, if you think that's okay, you need to leave this country. You're not an American. You are a traitor, not to mention a moron. But I don't want to get myself too worked up because you already know that you're traitors and morons. So I'll just leave it at that. Please, as always, would you hit the subscribe button? Tell others to watch the No Delusion Zone. Hit the subscribe button because, as I said, we've got a fascist dictator in charge right now in the disunited oligarchy of America, the disunited oligarchy of America, DOA. And we're in trouble. We're in trouble, folks. This nation is in trouble. And voices like mine need your help. So, again, hit the subscribe button. Go to buymeacoffee.com. Buy me a coffee. Look for the No Delusion Zone page. Buy me a coffee. Become a monthly member, even better. And support this channel and other channels just like this. We are the voice of the opposition. And until next time, you all, please, you stay safe, take care, and stay sane.